Thank you for returning to watch the third video. And in this third video, I want to talk about the 3 reasons why this field of graphic facilitation is growing. Now, the first one is eternal, and it has been true since day one when I began the work back in 1996. And the second and third reasons are a little more timely. It's sort of like where things are going now. Now, the first reason this field is growing is that we are making meaning for our clients, and how powerful that is. In my 2012 book, The Graphic Facilitator's Guide, I described the 3 benefits of graphic facilitation as the power of being listened to, the power of shared understanding, and the power of seeing and touching your work. And this is personally how I define the benefits of the work. The first one is that idea of being listened to. How often do you go into a meeting thinking, here's the thing, here's my idea, here's my idea, here's my idea, and you're just kind of spending at least 30% of your attention, if not more, just waiting for that moment to say the idea that you came in with. Now, when you're working with a graphic facilitator in the room, once you've said that idea is now on the piece of paper and you have been listened to. And now your mind is freed up to listen to everyone else. So that is one of the very important services that we're bringing in the room, is that feeling of validation and being listened to, which is like such an absolutely basic human need. The second big benefit is that in this meaning making that we're making in the room for our clients, the second one is this idea of shared understanding. And this is what happens when literally people are on the same page. When you are taking all those different voices in the room and putting them up all on the same sheet of paper. That's that shared understanding. That's how you get this amazing alignment. That's how you get this amazing engagement with folks when you're doing this graphic facilitation work. The third benefit is that idea of seeing and touching your work. It's that, we go into meeting mode, and so much of meeting mode is very, very verbal, it's very auditory, and it's ephemeral. You go into it, again, distracted by all the things you've got going on, distracted by your own ideas that you want to put on the table, and that with a graphic facilitator, with you as a graphic facilitator in the room, you are making that work tangible. You're making it concrete so that those folks in the room can focus and stay engaged with the problem they're trying to solve, with the buy-in they're trying to create, with the alignment they're trying to make. All those things that are really benefited by these large-scale live drawings that we make. So those 3 benefits, that is about that meaning making, and that is one of the 3 reasons that this field is growing. Those are the ways that we bring value into the room. The second reason that this field is growing is that our culture is simply getting more visual. This is really amazing to see how much media is just exploded. I wrote an article for our anthology called Drawn Together Through Visual Practice, and I mentioned the fact that when I was in 8th grade, we were the last family to get a VCR, and it was just shocking. It's like, now I've got, this little mini video studio in my pocket with my phone that I'm pointing to right now. So, just the fact that, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world behind Google. Think about how much learning has changed, that, instead of trying to go to the library and get a book, and I'm very pro-library, you now go to YouTube, and, in 5 minutes you can start learning a new skill by watching videos. So again, culture is getting more and more visual, and we as graphic facilitators, by bringing in this clearly visual aspect to the events, could not be better positioned to really help make meaning for our clients. And the fact that the work we're doing is completely adaptive and responsive to the group. So this isn't canned graphics coming in. This is making drawings specifically for that event, for those people, that are chock full of meaning. Now, the third reason this field is growing, I gotta find my handy dandy little drawing here, is the world is getting ever more VUCA. So I've been in lots and lots of meetings. I remember years ago I'd hear this phrase every so often, and now I hear it in at least 80% of the meetings I'm in. And this is a military term from the American military. I think it was the 80s or the 90s. I want to say 80s. And the idea is the VUCA is 4 ways that our world is changing. It's getting more volatile. It's getting more uncertain. It's getting more complex. And it's getting more ambiguous. How familiar do these things sound? How familiar do they feel? Do you get that sense of like, yeah. And what's beautiful about graphic facilitation is that it helps address all 4 of these things. You know, very often, if you are in an event where there's a lot of tension, the drawing at the front of the room, the drawing that you're making, acts as this third point. It acts as a mediating object. You know, if somebody has a problem with the situation or somebody's idea, they can point to that piece of paper instead of attacking the person who said it. So I think that, you know, our drawings that we make are very good mediators in those rooms. When it comes to uncertainty, a huge part of the graphic facilitation work is saying, you know, here's all these possible choices. Where do we want to go from here? And making that sort of like that giant question mark. You know, if you go into a meeting with a giant question mark, which is the objective, you know, what are you trying to get done in this meeting? And, you know, these meetings are filled with sort of like all these potential answers. And we are getting all those potential answers up on the piece of paper for people to be able to look at, to engage with, to prioritize, to decide on. Complexity, huge. I like to say that, you know, we've really been raised in schools and workplaces that were very, very, very linear and very text-based. And the idea is that you have to think from left to right and top to bottom. And that's what I talk about in the Idea Shapers. And so much of these verbal mediums and these text-based mediums are super linear. The issue is we don't solve problems in a straight line. The problems we're trying to solve are far more complex. You know, you have to get at them from all sorts of different angles, and you have to, you know, sort of, you know, take sort of sometimes a very circuitous path to solving those problems. And the final one is this idea of ambiguity. And again, much like uncertainty, these drawings make the intangible tangible. It takes that conversation and at least gets a version, the reflection of the artifact of that particular conversation, makes it tangible on a piece of paper. Doesn't mean everything's going to automatically become crystal clear, but there's definitely this sense of being able to see exactly what you are working with. So here, this term VUCA, we see it out in the wider world with how quickly things are changing, all these disruptive technologies, the fact that there really usually isn't a simple solution. Think about, you know, strategies that involve many phases and all the different stakeholders that are involved. We are in a VUCA world, undoubtedly, and I don't see how that's going to change. So I really do think that those 3 things are really why this field is growing and growing so quickly. First is that idea that, you know, fundamentally when we're working as a graphic facilitator, we are making meaning with our clients, for our clients. You know, and in that meaning making, it is the power of being listened to. It is the power of shared understanding, and it is the power of seeing and touching your work. That second big reason that graphic facilitation is growing is that culture is getting more and more and more visual. And one of the beautiful things about the work that we do is that it is responsive and adaptive, and it's not canned graphics, that our images that are created coming out of that event itself, that it is unique to that event, that you are responding to that event, facilitating that event through these drawings. And the third one is, like I said, VUCA. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And that these are the kinds of spaces that we're working in. That is the world at large. And that making these drawings are spatial. They're not linear. You can deal with a lot of complexity. You can create hierarchy. You can show interdependencies. You can make the connections. You can find the themes. All that juicy stuff can happen in these drawings that we're making. Now, That is why this field is growing and it's so rich. And I will tell you the single thing that I fear, and I only have one fear about this future of this work, and that is when somebody works with a colleague of mine, of ours, and they have a bad experience. Now, in my experience, hearing from clients, those bad experiences tend to be one of two things. It's either a lack of content on that piece of paper, or it's a lack of adaptability and professionalism. It's either that they simply did not get enough of that conversation up on the wall, or that when something changes, as they so often do in these meetings, that practitioner couldn't adapt, they short-circuited, they pulled focus, all that kind of stuff. So that is, one of the big reasons that I'm creating this program is that I want the very best colleagues going out there and doing the very best work for our clients, so that this field can continue to grow, and then we only get more and more and more professional, and that through Graphic Facilitator Confidential, through these different choice points, through talking about these different topics, these different aspects of our work, we all have a stronger understanding of the work we are there to do, and we are much better and much stronger at packaging what we do and describing it to our clients so they understand how to work together best, what our value is. So setting those expectations clearly so that we can go in and do fantastic work and serve our clients well and be asked back and get great word of mouth and do more fantastic work, because these visuals have so much power. This role as graphic facilitator, we have so much power in really helping support and guide our clients to doing absolutely fantastic work. So I do hope that you will join me in Graphic Facilitator Confidential for this program that is about starting, building, or strengthening your own graphic facilitation practice. So if you're interested, sign up below, and I hope to see you in Graphic Facilitator Confidential.